tough road trip for us down to Louisiana Monroe. Went down there and tell you the truth, it was a race, between both offenses. And they came out on top. Disappointing, of course, that we couldn't come away with a win down there. Our team prepared well during the open date, and we just didn't make the plays needed to win that game. And, regardless of that game, we still had to go out and this with App State coming up and our 3-game stretch for us to win the East Championship, we still got to go out and defeat all those teams. So it really didn't change our demeanor. When I say that, sure, it was a disappointing loss, but we still have everything ahead of us and the opportunity to go do some great things.
All right, thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Steve Baer with the Watauga Democrat Gazette. Please go ahead, Steve.
Coach, how you doing?
Steve, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, man, you know how it is. Another day, another $2 an hour.
They haven't run you off the mountain yet?
No, not like I haven't given them any reason, but you know how it goes.
Oh, well, that's good.
Just, you could really make a mess of this East race with the win on Saturday. Just kind of talk about how you guys are still hanging in there. This one is a biggie.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it a mess. I would call it, maybe a little complication from App's point of view, but certainly, here we are. We're playing a significant ball game in the month of November for an East Championship, and for our football program to be doing that's fantastic, and we're thrilled to do it. And to be going up against what I call one of the best teams in all the country is certainly exciting, and it's also exciting for me. Having played there and graduated from there and coached there many, many years. So, we would love to throw a little wrench in the whole thing.
Mess was probably strong, but you've obviously saw what happened with Georgia Southern, and then they come up or go down to Columbia and really shut down South Carolina's running attack in that win there. Do you kind of copy a little bit of what Georgia Southern did, or because they ran the ball pretty well?
No, we certainly don't copy anybody. We do what we do, and we'd like to think we do it halfway decent. We don't go out and get the flavor of the week and the play of the day and go install it and see if it tries to work against their defense. They've got an outstanding defense. They were, I guess, caught off guard a little bit against Georgia Southern, but what an outstanding defensive team they have. I mean, they're all over the field. They play with great intensity and they're fast. I mean, that's one of the things about that defense. They're so fast and they present problems. Yes, they shut down South Carolina. I mean, I think South Carolina rushed the ball 27 times for 21 yards. So if that's not shutting it down, I don't know what you say. But we're not going to certainly change anything for Appalachian State. We're going to do our thing, and if we do it to the best of our ability, hopefully we'll have a little bit of success against them.
You mentioned November football. Could you just kind of elaborate a little bit on that? I mean, this is why you do all the spring work and all the summer work, and now it's coming down to a few games. Is this kind of the fun time of the year when you can really sink your teeth into coaching and doing all that?
Well, I think as a coach, I mean, every game is fun because that's just what we do. But as a player, you want to, and as a coach, I shouldn't say that. It's always fun to play meaningful games in the month of November, to know that you still have an opportunity to go out there. Everybody in this country would love to be sitting where we are, where App State is, and still having an opportunity to go win a conference championship and to elevate their football program and doing something great. That's what we all strive to do. That's just who we are as competitors, and it's certainly fun to know that we've got a meaningful game coming up against a great football team.
And could you just kind of give me the skinny a little bit on what you think of their offense? They do like to run the ball, and they've got a quarterback who can run and throw it.
Yeah, they're outside zone, inside zone, with the naked play action off of it, max protect. They've got a great quarterback. I mean, their offensive line, listen, I'm real familiar with their offensive line. I'm real familiar with their players. We certainly played them here in the past. Familiar with their coaches. Shawn Clark and I played together at App State. Pat Washington and I coached together at South Carolina. I know some other guys up there. I think I recruited DJ Smith, their linebacker coach. So there's a lot of familiarity with that group up there. They're tremendous offensively. They're a tremendous football team. They wouldn't be sitting there 25th in the country and ranked like they are if they weren't a high caliber coaching staff and players.
I understand you have a quarterback issue. Your starter, is he out?
Well, we don't have an issue. I mean, we've got our quarterback is injured, and we've got a backup quarterback, but there's no real issue with it. So it's just the way things happen, Each and every week you have to deal with injuries and you have to move on. So we're going to certainly deal with it and move on.
And lastly, you kind of, I don't know, maybe take a little small deep breath every time you play Appalachian just because you were here so long and you kind of just go.
No, no, I really don't. So, I've been away from the mountain for a long, long time, and I may have done that last year going up there to Boone and playing, but certainly not our first year playing here at Georgia State Stadium, and I certainly won't have a moment this Saturday night either.
Okay. I appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you, Steve. Our next questions come from Stan Austrie with the AJC. Please go ahead, Stan.
Hey, Shawn. I was going to follow up on the injury to Dan. What's the extent of it? Is any chance you're going to return before the year's over?
I think it's still too early to tell. I certainly don't think Dan will be back this week. We're going to see how the recovery goes, but right now we're proceeding with Quad Brown, and that's who we're going to throw out there and let him run our show.
Are you calling Dan's injury a lower body, or is it a left knee, right knee kind of thing? What?
I'm not on.
I don't know what you're allowed to say.
It's a knee injury.
Okay.
It's a knee sprain. So that's what it is. A lower extremity, if you want to call it that.
All right. What kind of player is Cornelius Brown, and what can he do for you guys?
He's got a great talent. I think experience plays a huge role in developing a player, but what a strong arm. He's got a great ability to maneuver from in the pocket to outside the pocket. We can have our run game with him just like we did Dan. I think he's going to be an exceptional quarterback, and he's getting thrown into the fire, I guess, a little bit early, but hey, let's go cut your teeth on with good football teams, and he's going to get to cut his teeth as the guy going into this game this weekend.
Well, at least he got a half a game under his belt last week. That probably didn't hurt.
No, it didn't. I mean, it was great for him to go out there and get those reps. He hasn't had a whole lot of reps, and to go out there and just to run our offense and kind of get the feeling of that in-game excitement kind of over with. Let him know it's just the game of football. It's nothing, too big that he can't handle or we can't handle with him out there. So it's an exciting time. I told him, as he took the field the other night, I said, listen, let's don't make it out to be more than it is. Let's go play the game of football but enjoy yourself. And he's got a great attitude, a phenomenal young man with probably the biggest smile you've ever seen in your life. So we're looking forward to watching him go out and play and compete and play against this great football team in Appalachian State. What an opportunity and what a story it's going to be when he goes out there and plays really, really well.